Hi peeps, it's pool season. Yep, me and my plastic pool. So, in all seriousness, if you are here in the Northern Hemisphere, it is almost time for pool slash beach slash season. And what's a woman to do when she wants to be easy and covered up and still look stylish? Well, let's talk about that today. Thanks so much for sticking with me. I'm Liz Koba from Cosplay Image, where we are all about bright ideas for your wardrobe and your style. And I'm sure you're envying me my fabulous summer setup, but our temperatures are supposed to be escalating into the upper 90s this weekend. So I decided it was time to start thinking about this. Besides, it's almost Memorial Day, and that's really the official kick or the unofficial kickoff of summer here in the Northern Hemisphere for us in the US. It may not actually be summer until a couple weeks into July, but we start thinking summer once you get to Memorial Day. Lots of kids are out of school, and if they're not, they've already checked out. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about style and covering up, because sometimes it's about protection, sometimes it's about modesty, and sometimes it's just, I just don't want to be all out there with my skin. So I had to switch this to vertical to make it a little bit easier, but I wanted to share with you a couple different tricks and tips that I've learned about tying pareos and how useful they are for when you're traveling, like if you're going to the beach. Oh, look at the flaps. Anyway, when you go travel or when you're just going to the pool, right? So I love a pareo. Mine here is just a very inexpensive and very thin. I'm gonna walk up here and show you. It's very thin. Like you can see, kind of see through it. The idea of a thick one is nice, except that it doesn't tie your drape well. And like, who needs a little extra bulk? So the first tip I have for you is don't tie it by the ends. So what happens is a lot of people, so they get their pareo and they wrap it around and they go, okay, I gotta keep wrapping, right? And then they gotta shift it around and then they tie it, and then it's rumpling in places you don't want it to rumple. Now, depending on your body shape, this can work really well, but if you're curvy, it just may not feel right because it's gonna feel snug through here. So my favorite way, if you're a curvy girl, is to, rather than double wrapping it like that, get back over here. So we're gonna just single wrap it, and rather than tying from the ends, we're just gonna grab, I think of it as a rabbit ear in each of two spots. So you have a little bit extra here. And what that does is it gives you a lot of softness and drape in the front. So, and then I'm just tying it a square knot, and it looks like a bow because I've got those little rabbit ears. Now, you can tie it all the way up at your waist, and if you really feel like it, you can use that same tie to create it like a little bandeau dress, right? Same thing, you can shift it to one side. Now, granted, it is gonna open up a little bit, but if you want to avoid that, that's where you tie your end, down at the bottom. So you can tie your end at the bottom, your corner at the bottom, and that'll help keep it from opening up so much on you. So yeah, and I personally, like if I'm heading out to the beach, I prefer to wear it in dress form rather than skirt form, because I don't need the extra length like tripping me up and everything else. I prefer it a lot shorter. My favorite way when I'm hauling a lot of equipment though, because I don't want it so tight, is, this is my exception, where I will tie it on the ends, is I'll tie it in a halter form. So, let me untie this. Here we go. So for halter form, just loop it around the back of you, wherever it is you want it. There we go. And then I'm just gonna grab my ends, cross one over the other. And now in this case, I am tying the ends. So I'm just gonna tie the ends back up over my neck, right? And it gives me a great little halter. It's really easy to move in. It's got more coverage than the bandeau form because we've got some overlap going on. And it's a fabulous way to do that cover up. And it looks a little dorky with my straps hanging out if that's your thing, but I don't care. I'm going to the beach. I'm not too worried about what I look like. But, so I just wanted to share that. So there's the bandeau across the top or the halter, and then the two different ways to tie it at the bottom if you're wearing it like a skirt. So here's the exception about the skirt version. So let me untie this. So the exception to the skirt version is when, and this is why I really love to take a pareo or a sarong, just a huge scarf on holiday when we go, is I do like it wrapped, double wrapped, and tied on the ends, because then I can wear it as a skirt. Like if we want to go out to dinner, I want to go someplace, you know, just want to feel a little bit dressier. I can throw it on with a t-shirt and go, and I feel like I'm wearing a skirt, but I haven't had to pack anything extra in my bag. So I hope that helps a little bit. For your information, so this this scarf slash pareo is about 6 feet long by about 34-inch wide. How wide you want it to be really is going to depend on your height. I'm altitudinally challenged. I'm 5'3" on a good day after a really good night's sleep when my spine has had time to just stretch out and rest. And I've done a really good yoga stretch. I might be 5'3". So for me, a 34-inch is plenty long. I mean, you can see that it comes way down mid-calf. And then when I do tie it up as a dress, yes, it's knee length, but I'm certainly not feeling overexposed. Let me do that again, the halter version. And yeah, I just love this halter version. It's probably my go-to when we're going to the beach and I'm hauling bags and hanging onto grandkids and I'm worried about losing stuff, because it's not going anywhere. It's certainly not going anywhere. There you go. One last tip and trick. If you do prefer the halter version, there's a couple ways you can go about it. Or sorry, the bandeau version. So if you want to do the bandeau like I showed you where you tie, then you may have some gaping in the front. But if you want to avoid that, let's take the ends. So take one end, tuck it under your strap, pull. Whoop, another end, tuck it under your strap and pull. And that way, there we go. I get some drape, I get overlap, so I have a little bit more coverage. And the great thing is, no, you don't have to have these flapping pieces. So you got a couple options. Sometimes I'll just wrap it back around the front and tuck it in, right? Or if I'm feeling kind of cute, I may loop it around like a knot there, drop that through. You can hear the dogs in my neighborhood and the birds and everybody's doing their thing, right? And so I could do it that way, or one on either side. And that's really secure as well. That's not going anywhere, right? There's nowhere that is gonna go. I mean, unless somebody's pulling off your whole swimsuit. So the other reason I love this, if I get there and I'm all hot and sweaty from having dragged out the cooler and the kids and the chair and everything else, we're at the beach, then the easiest thing is I can go right down to the water and just kind of, if I want to get all the way up to my hips, I can just kind of pull this up and tuck it in. I can leave it hanging long and just at least get my feet wet and cooled off before we settle down to finish all the sunscreen, which we actually do before we go to the beach. It's a long story. It has to do with when we lived in Spain, but wear your sunscreen. Really, all the time, just all the time. I'm wearing some right now, actually, to just come out here and tape this, and I'm standing in the shade. So that's about all I have for pareos. You can check out the blog post, which I will link below, that this video will also be in. But it'll have a little bit more information about some tips and tricks for Apres Sun, other ways that you may want to wear your pareo when you're not in the sun. So I hope you have a fabulous, fabulous day. Stay safe and sound and sane and stylish. And you can always count on Cosplay Image for, like I said, bright ideas for your wardrobe and your style. Thanks so much for visiting with me today. Your time is precious, and I appreciate any of it you spend with me. Bye.